We've all heard of the proposed cage match between Twitter owner Elon Musk and Meta founder Mark Zuckerberg. But the real battle between the two tech giants is only just heating up, with Meta's launch of Threads today. The new app from the owners of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp is set up to rival Twitter. According to Zuckerberg, there were 5 million signups in the first 4 hours since Threads was launched. What does this mean for the social media landscape? Let's get to the point with social media expert Dr. Elmi Negmat. Elmi, a quick one, your first take on Threads.
Well, my first take on Threads is that, wow, it's particularly interesting that there's another social media app that is created to mirror Twitter, which is entirely a very popular app. Yeah.
And Threads is similar to Twitter, like you mentioned, right? Seeing how social media users seem to be more visually driven with the immense popularity of Instagram and TikTok, is there room for both Threads and Twitter in this dwindling text-based space on social media?
It's going to be a fight between Twitter, either Twitter or Threads for social media users. And this fight, right, will primarily be down to certain factors, or this battle might probably be down to certain factors. I think one of the most important factor is how well Threads can onboard users, right? Particularly what we will call power users. Power users are users that are high-profile celebrities, for example, influencers, artists, and influential public figures. And more importantly, also businesses, because that's where a lot of money and a lot of people are now buying things online, right? And I don't think it's going to be that hard because Threads integrate very well and seamlessly with Instagram, something that users are very used to. So they have an advantage there. Perhaps another reason could also be due to two main factors. One would be, for example, how much does it cost to actually, is there any hidden cost in using Threads, right? For example, we can tell that there's a strong push factor coming from Twitter that Threads can actually use to actually get more users in. Twitter is still figuring out the pay per subscription to businesses, still figuring out whether, I think they already figured they wanted to actually charge for the use of their API services, and they backtracked. And now there are a few, they're experimenting with different payment models, different financial models. And I think for users, right, especially for businesses, right, this kind of experimentation, this kind of uncertainty is a challenging time. It's quite a push factor. So something more stable, something which they are more familiar with, for example, Instagram, Meta's model, juxtaposed now transferred to Threads, might actually be attractive to them.
Meta now controls Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, and then now you have the new product Threads. You know, they have access to a lot of users' data. So on that end, how can we keep our data on the online space safe?
There are two main things that actually new users should actually comply or take an effort or take time to do. One is to actually take the time to read through the user agreement. I know it's arduous. It's a very long process, and you just scroll through because we are we are very used to just scrolling through and just ticking the tick button and agreeing to any kind of statement. But it is exceptionally important for users to actually read through the user agreement. Now, even though it's important, the challenge is how many actually do understand the terms and the terms and the words and what is written and how it affects them, right? So even after reading through, one might not be able to understand, but then it's important to also get more information, not from the app itself, but from the online source, from the internet, for example, to actually find out information such as what are the associated risks with this new current platform. We can also find out more about cases involving infringement of data privacy. Last but not least, which I think most and all users can do, the first order of business, right? When you are onboarding or when you are just using a new app, be it Threads or any other form of new apps that you want to try, be sure to actually check out the privacy settings on the platform. That's the first order of business that any ordinary users could do. Not to actually, perhaps to actually set up your profile. But even before you set up your profile, you should actually be looking at all the privacy settings. What are the different kind of functions that the platform itself provides users in terms of setting their network privacy, for example, the network size, the kind of information that can be collected, the kind of information that marketers or businesses can access or services can access, and to limit certain information. I think most, if not all, social media or social networking service providers now have such kind of functions allowing users to actually control their level of privacy.